Good morning. Welcome, everyone. We're going to go live on the first NAVTOR customer webinar. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Richard Northover, and I am the manager of NAVTOR UK. Again, thank you all for joining. This is a new experience for all of us, but we're excited to hopefully start a series of webinars. And the aim of these webinars is to, of course, spread knowledge. But it is also to ensure that everyone gets maximum value from the NAVTOR products and services. So today I'm going to be going through as your host, and the agenda for today is very simple. I'll do an introduction. I'll then pass across to my colleague in Norway, who's going to give a description about the values behind NAVTOR. I'm then going to come back and talk about the unique NAVTOR ecosystem. And then we're going to hand off to my colleague in a different part of the UK who's going to discuss specifics for values within one of our product line. And then we're going to have a question and answer session. Please feel free to ask questions as we go. If you can use the comments tab, we'll pick those up and we'll talk about them. Maybe if they're relevant to that section, we can do it on the fly, but we'll certainly do a roundup session of question and answers at the end. So now I'm going to hand you across to my colleague Borge in Norway, who's going to do a conversation with you about the ethos behind NAVTOR. Borge Hetland.
Good day, wherever you are in the world. My name is Borge Hetland, and I'm the CCO of NAVTOR. And first, I would say thank you for putting your trust in NAVTOR as your e-navigation partner. When we started NAVTOR in 2011, our aim was to make it easy for commercial shipping companies with easy access, updating, and distribution of electronic charts and nautical data publications. And especially with the pay-as-you-sail concept, we came a far way in that respect. Later on, we have built a lot of systems and services around and on top of these ENCs, and to build a more complete e-navigation concept, where we have the Navbox enabling seamless and automatic updating of ENCs all the way into Actis. We also have launched NavStation, the world's first digital chart table, which incorporate all the relevant information you need to plan a route. Today, as Richard said, we will talk about NavTracker, which is a comprehensive tool mainly used for portfolio management and tracking of vessels. But we have built on top of that a lot of functions which we believe are useful for you. And our promise to all of you is that NAVTOR will continue to be the leader in e-navigation, to build on technology, functionality, reliability, and to be your best partner also going forward when it comes to e-navigation. So thanks again for joining this seminar. Thanks for putting your trust in NAVTOR. And I'm looking forward to see many of you when the work is back to normal. So thanks again. Back to you, Richard.
Thank you very much, Borge. And we'll carry on through. I'm going to move on to look at, first of all, NAVTOR's e-navigation ecosystem. Our ecosystem is built around answering questions that are raised for navigators and mariners alike. They're designed to address the issues that affect us all. Navigational issues, as you see from this slide, actually account for approximately 30% of all the top 10 port state deficiencies. Now, it's not great to concentrate on deficiencies, but our products are designed to answer the issues. And of course, deficiencies in most cases are a real pain, especially to mariners and shipping officers alike. So it's something we would all like to avoid. And this is why we consider what we're doing is to address deficiencies, but certainly to go even further than that and stop detentions, which are potentially very damaging, especially in the current environment. Our products and services are all focused on providing world-class solutions to the above needs that are described here. And what I'll try and do is, if you look at the symbols we have here, we have nautical publications, charts, and passage planning. I'll use those symbols and I'll point during my presentation to the areas that our products actually address the needs brought up through these deficiencies. This slide couldn't be simpler. It talks about what we provide as an e-navigation concept, e-navigation being a term that's bandied around very much, but actually I'm not sure that many people really know what the concept means. And e-navigation could mean anything to anyone, but we all take it, I think, to mean electronic navigation. And what we're talking about is a complete end-to-end service. So what we describe here is that NAVTOR, we start everything ashore, and our back end that drives our e-navigation service, what it does is it communicates effectively out to vessel. Navbox is our product, and probably it is the only product we put and fit on board vessels. And what that does is it gives us the key. It gives us a center to create a highway for the information, updates, and services onto the vessel. The data then flows, of course, to front of bridge, and we do not mind which active system we work with. We're very happy to work with all active system, and it was a very early decision when NAVTOR started. The highway is the Navbox giving secure data that really spreads value right the way through the business. So to front of bridge, and then we pass to back of bridge. Nav Station, we call it. It's a software program we provide, and this is powering, and will be described later on, all of the services required for navigators on board. And again, all of our services are interconnected, so it's backwards connectivity as well. The nav station will constantly be in communication within a NAVTOR system with the Navbox, requesting the most up-to-date information in order that what's presented to the mariner is absolutely the latest data and aids that decision-making process. And finally, our back of bridge, of course, powers other software which we house in shipping offices. NavTracker is the software most people use. And NavTracker gives the overview and allows a company to gain real value from that data that's happening on board ship and really derive that value and push things forward. We'll be going into NavTracker a lot later into this presentation. If we look at Navbox, I have noticed we have one question already, which is superb. Thank you so much. And we'll come to that question in greater detail later. But this slide does go a certain way to answering the question. So Navbox, as it says on the tin here, seamless automatic updating. All of the products we supply are powered through our Navbox. We take an AIS or a GPS feed of position, your own ship's position within or back into our Navbox, which means you have great confidence in the position. And we have gained a DMV approval. We are the first company to gain a DMV approval for the cybersecurity, as the Navbox is a gateway for data from the ship's LAN through to the protected LAN, which is in fact the Ecdis. So we can actually deliver directly data from an unprotected LAN on board right the way through to the Ecdis. We'll go into further detail perhaps right at the end to answer that question, but I hope that goes some way into answering why Navbox provides the cybersecurity required for ships at sea. Here we're going to describe our backup bridge solution. So you can see here a software platform. On this view, it's being used on a large touchscreen tablet, and that's fine. Most vessels we find run normal computers, backup bridges, admin PC perhaps, backup bridge PC with a normal screen. But we're seeing more and more of the solution where people like to have a large touchscreen format. It makes interactivity with charts very, very simple, very effective. It also presents the base layer, which is charts, in a format that the mariner is really comfortable with. So everything NavStation does is based upon the fact that we layer data. So here we go. We have the NavStation desktop, and we layer the data on top. First of all, of course, the ENC chart data is layered as the base layer. On top of that, it allows you to do many functions. So from the chart data, you can do route planning. You can overlay Admiralty digital products. You can overlay your nautical publications, your weather overlays from our partner, Weather News International. Nav area warnings give you further depth of layer. New product environmental regulations allows you to do far more with the data, and that will be covered in a later presentation. E-publications reader, again, is a later webinar to cover that one. It's dealing with more publications data being available. And the last one is overarching a passage planning module. And what that enables vessels to do is drill down and harvest the data from all the underneath layers. This is NavTracker. This is a very simple view of NavTracker. And we're going to come on to have a full conversation and presentation about NavTracker. As we like to say, it's fully in control and always compliant. And it gives everyone the same view in real time of what is happening on your vessel. There is a NavTracker Lite, is also available in both iOS and Android formats. And what we find that's very useful for ship managers who can really gain value. The last thing you want is your PC by your bed at all times. We all know ship managers are very busy, but if you have a light version, you're able to get the critical start data, which may lead you down a path that you open a full NavTracker application, but it certainly gives you all the information right at your fingertips. And that seems like a good point to move over to my colleague, Stephen Richards, who's actually going to take us through some very critical functions in NavTracker that we've been told are probably underutilized and actually gain the most value for ship managers. So with that, I'm going to pass you across to Stephen Richards.
Okay, hi, good morning, everyone. Yeah, my name's Stephen Richards. I'm an area sales manager for NAVTOR for the last 5 years, and I worked for a couple of other companies prior to that in the same industry. So yeah, thank you very much. Might just jump straight in. I'll show you a quick slide to cover the 10 points that we're going to go through, and then jump straight into the live demonstration. So if you just bear with me, I need to share the screen. So hopefully that comes up in a few seconds. I'm not sure if that's getting shared there, Richard. Perfect. Hopefully you can see that now. So yeah, this is top 10 functions. So I guess I know a lot of you guys got the invitation sent out to your NavTracker email. So I know a lot of you are familiar with NavTracker. I'm going to go through these. These aren't in any particular order. So first one, we'll look at the vessel positions and where we're getting them from. The weather forecasts. Number 3 is the nautical chart layer. The contingency tab. The data layers is one of the later functions we've put in. Subscription certificate. And number 7 is active route and passage plan. Ais data. Operational reports, and number 10 is fleet reports. So I hopefully there's some functions in there that you guys you're going to learn some new functions, but I know some of you may already be fairly familiar with it. So hopefully now you are seeing my NavTracker and not my passage plan. I'll just yeah. So yeah, just comment if you can't see my NavTracker. Hopefully that's okay. So yeah, NavTracker is an application. You guys all should have a login for it. When you log in, you'll see a global view of your fleet position and where it is. So first point on that list was the vessel position. So I can easily click on the vessel position, and what you'll see is the current position. If you hover the mouse over it, it pops up a little thing and it will tell you the report time of that. So that was 7 o'clock UTC for that position. And then it has the historic track there. So that track goes back as far as that vessel has been with us as a customer, and you can use this slide bar down at the bottom to increase that or decrease it. If you right mouse click on this one, it does give you the option to set a specific date and time to go to as well, and that goes for both sides there, so you can actually do that. Where do we get that position data? So if you are a vessel that has a Navbox on board, that's actually getting the ship's own GPS data and feeding back to us, and that's usually on every 15 minutes, but it can be increased depending on your company requirements. If you aren't using a Navbox system, the source of the data, we have a huge range of different sources actually. So that could be terrestrial AIS, satellite data, but we get a whole bunch of different ones, and it's compiled and sent through. But Navbox is definitely the best option for position data. I'll go on to point 2 for now. So if we just click back here, you'll see up on the top section here, there's a weather function. We can only turn on one layer at a time. The concept behind that is to make sure we're not too cluttered there. So the weather all comes from our partner Weather News International. If you look down in the bottom left corner in this bar here, this tells you the weather you're receiving based on your cursor position. So if I move over to my vessel here, you can see we're getting northwesterly winds at 2 meters a second. If I come up off Greenland, they're getting nice 15-meter winds over there. So that shows that one. We have implemented tropical cyclones, which there was one in the Gulf of Mexico there. So that just shows any active systems. So you can see there, if I hover over there, it gives you the implementation. So with the standard subscription, you get the 3-day weather here. If you are subscribing to onboard weather in NavStation, this can get actually extended to a 10-day forecast within NavTracker as well. So if you weren't aware of that, make sure you check with your account manager or sales guys. So I'm going to move on to point 3 on that list, which is Nautical Charts. Currently, this view here is, if I go up into map options, I'm looking at satellite. I just like the coloring and everything like that for the satellite one, so I normally use that, but you can click on Nautical Charts, and what we get here is actually, if I zoom in, I get nautical chart information. So this is vector charts, but it is private data from a company called Navionics, but you can look in there and actually see, vector chart information. I will go on to point 4, which is Contingency Tab, which I guess a lot of your office users are using this one. If I go into Contingency Tab, there's a bunch of things here. So I can do a range and bearing marker. So I'll just use, I'll use this one as an example. I can take a range and bearing from anywhere. Have a look at this. The distance measuring tool, I can start doing voyage calculations, and it gives you a calculation per leg and total distance for this one. there is a port search database. So I guess we're all familiar with where Singapore is, but if I click on this one and there, it actually takes you directly to the port. So you can use that one. And there's a few other functions in here. So you can go to a specific position, put the longitude and latitude in, and there's map scale indicator and that. So yeah, the Contingency tab can be quite useful. From now, I will just go into our data layers, which was 0.5 on that list. So if I come into settings here, if you have a great big fleet with us, which we're happy for, you can actually turn on, toggle on the fleet, turn it on and off to get a clearer picture of what's happening underneath. But I'm going to go into the data layers panel here. So you can see up here, I can turn on the eco zones. So you can see the boundaries of those, and we keep those updated. Got the ones down in China here. There's a notes section. So if I click on this here, you can see I can do that based on a point, a line, or a polygon. Type the name in and the description, and then that will go through to all users within your company can see the notes that you're putting up. High risk areas, voluntary reporting areas, highlight up here. And so, yeah, that's it for that point with the data layers. What I wanted to do next is the subscription certificate. So, yeah, if we then go into a specific vessel, you can see over here. So we obviously, when a vessel starts with us, we send out the original subscription certificate. If it's a new company, often at renewal time, they're emailing our customer service asking to get emailed out. But actually, we keep this, the most relevant, the most recent subscription certificate is always available here. So we actually don't need to email anything out. It's always here available. So it's fine for if port state control's on and they want to see it. So it's got the vessel details up here, a tick off next to what they're subscribing to, and the renewal date for the certificate. A little bit further down, there's the certification from DNV and things like that. As well as the subscription certificate, since I'm here, we've also implemented the show ADP key. So if the vessels have digital publications with us, they can click here and get the activation key here. And another point I'll just say while I'm in this menu is the ECDIS information is now also here. So you can easily find the user permit for your ECDIS. This is all based on the information we have registered for your vessel. So yeah, we'll go on to point number 7, which is the active route and passage plan. So this is for vessels using our passage planning software, which we definitely recommend you should be using. So if you don't have it or haven't heard of it, make sure you contact us. You'll see with this vessel here, we have the green line behind. So that's the actual track for the vessel. And it's got the blue line out the front. So this vessel's done a passage plan in our software and has marked this route as active. And if we click on the routes tab, there's then a passage plan, and you can see it's set as active. So it's in red here, and that's why it's got the blue line at the front. And actually, as Richard had been saying, it's the whole ecosystem kind of talks to each other. So once it's set as an active passage plan, I can actually, from the shore side, click show details, and I can then have a look and assess their passage plan that they've done on board. So that's quite a good feature we've got in there. I will just also talk to you about the AIS data. So once again, kind of links back to what Richard was saying with the Navbox and the AIS positions. So these guys, if I click on the AIS tab here, I can show information. Now this AIS data is not any marine traffic data or anything like that. This is the actual vessel's own AIS system on board. So you can see you've got a nice close vessel here, and then I could also come to the contingency and see how far away he is. Could be used in a contingency situation. So, you know, if something happens on board and you need assistance, you can be from the shore side looking to see who's around. Yeah, so that's it for the Ais data. I can also show, it does show a little bit of history of the data as well. So if I find that vessel in the list here, Ultra Jaguar, it shows the historic AIS positions for this one as well. That brings me on to the operational report. This is once again, I think Berger had mentioned that, yeah, originally the NavTracker software was based for portfolio management. A lot of these functions we've put together based on customer feedback. So one of our Norwegian customers, I believe, realized that we were getting quite accurate speed position information from the tracking that we're doing. So we could actually look at the speed there, do a speed report. So if we come into this tab up here, which is operational and noon, and click on settings, I can just come along and click enable use of speed ranges. So if I click on this one, I can then set what speed limits I'm interested in, and also change the color to what will actually get displayed. If I right mouse click on here, I'll add another speed amount here, and I can do whichever speed I'd like. So once I click save on that, you'll see the track here has changed with colors. So it will give you an indication of when you're getting which speed. So it gives you a visual representation quite easily there, but you can actually do a report here. So if I do historical report, click on a specific date, or if I just do it for the last month, what this does is gives me a speed breakdown based on each of the speeds and the amount of time it actually does do that one. So yeah, it's got here. So between 10 to 18 knots in June, 13% of the time I was hitting my eco speed. This information can all get exported out to an Excel document as well, and further analyzed. Yeah, so that was it for the operational reports points. So I will be moving on to point number 10, which is the fleet reports. So currently, so far I've been going into an individual vessel and looking at data, but what I can do is if I actually right click on the actual company name in the right hand side, all these reports are based on the whole fleet. So I can do an update report. These guys are all using a Navbox, so I know they're going to be updated to the week. This gives you a rundown of the vessels that they're updated to the week, and what date they updated there. If I also come and look at the subscription report, you may have a fleet of or whatever size, 20 vessels or something like that. You want to get an overview of what actual subscriptions the vessels are getting from us. So straight away, I can easily see, well, this vessel here doesn't actually have a Witherby subscription with us, whereas the rest of the fleet does. So maybe I need to check. They may just not have transferred over to us yet. So that quite easily gives you an overview of the subscriptions. If you want to check on the publications and their expiry, so I can right click on this, and this will quite easily show me that there's where there's an exclamation mark, it means there's a publication due to expire this month. Quite often it may be a sailing direction or something like that, because they all have a different expiry date, but this gives you an overview of what's expiring when. And then I will just, for the last one, for the last one, there's a operational report. So I did the speed report based on a single vessel before, when I was showing you the different colors. With the operational report, I can do for the whole fleet and do an actual full fleet one. So yeah, that brings me to the end of my 10 points for NavTracker. So yeah, I think that's back to you then, Richard, if you are happy with that.
Thank you very much, Stephen. That's very kind. So really, we're going to start wrapping up now with the presentation, and we'll move to more of the question and answer session. So in summary of what we've just seen, Bugger Hetland went through the fact that everyone is in safe hands with NAVTOR. And that's really important to us. And it is one of the most important points that our customers tell us from their side. I discuss the e-navigation ecosystem and actually the fact that it's unique, comprehensive, and works with all actors. And now Stephen has just gone through functions with NavTracker, which add value both to the vessel and also to those ashore, which is really, really important. So here we are, the summary points. And again, this is this presentation will be available later for everyone to view again. So you'll be able to pick those points of interest to you at the time. Moving on, just to note that this is now a start of a series of webinars. This is webinar number 1. And the second webinar is going to be, we've announced in 2 weeks' time on 24th of June. And the topic for that webinar is going to be Nav Station.